market value for the lands they have looted. Again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people. That's if we just ask people, those who were paying 42,000 cedis, 120,000 cedis, 160,000 cedis, to pay the fair market value. Those are lands that $500,000, $600,000, you will even struggle to get cantonments land at that figure. So very conservative estimates. We take the view that if people are asked to pay the real market value, this is how much we can retrieve. So in all, just a summary, the 36 cases, the high amount cases that we put together, and then the land loot, potentially we can raise about 21.19 billion United States dollars. And that is far more than what we have been chasing the IMF for and subjecting ourselves to all kinds of conditionalities. So we want to renew our appreciation and deep gratitude to His Excellency the President and his team of advisors for this initiative, which has really served Ghana well. And we look forward to the next phase. Even if we will not be involved, we will be very successful when the next phase really conducts retrievals and is successful in making sure that we are able to return to the national kitty resources that belong to the Ghanaian people. We thank you very much.
And that's the chairperson of Oral, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. But now we know that the work is not ended. President John Dramani Mahama today announced a new phase of this operation. In fact, he's ordering the Attorney General to immediately begin investigations and to prosecute those found culpable in the findings of the report.
The meticulous investigations, legal actions, and asset recoveries reflected in this report are a testament to the seriousness with which this government approaches the issue of accountability and good governance. The findings of this report make for sober reading. They reveal the scale of financial leakages that have cost our nation dearly. Resources that should have been invested in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social development. But they also offer hope that through our collective efforts, we can reclaim what is ours and deter future acts of economic sabotage. As we receive this report, let me assure the Ghanaian people that the work does not end here. The recommendations of the report will be carefully studied, and where legal action and investigations are warranted, they will be pursued without fear or favor. Every peso recovered will be channeled back into national development, and mechanisms will be strengthened to prevent such losses in the future. I have promptly handed over the report to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and I give him firm instructions to commence immediate investigations into the cases reported in here with a view to prosecuting anyone found liable for corruption or related offenses. To those who think they can defraud the state and escape justice, let this serve as a strong warning. Ghana is no longer a safe haven for corruption. To those who stand for integrity, accountability, and the rule of law, I assure you that this government remains your steadfast partner in building a nation where honesty and hard work are rewarded. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a defining moment in our fight against corruption. We must all play our parts, citizens, civil society, the media, and public officials alike. Together, we will build a Ghana that is just, transparent, and prosperous for generations to come.
And a confirmation here on Top Story that Operation Recover All is now entering a new phase. In fact, there's a need for us to get some updates on what this new phase of Oral will look like and what it is that the Attorney General will be doing in terms of the priority cases, 36 of them. And fortunately, joining us now is the Minister of State Government Communications, Felix Kwachiofosu, who's joining us over the telephone lines now. Good evening to you, sir, and thank you for joining us on Top Story. And hold on for us briefly, because our reporter, presidential affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbugba, was there with you today when the report was presented. In fact, we're getting to hear, Maxwell, that as many as 2,417 complaints were received by the oral team. That's the level of interest in this fact-finding mission. What more do we know about the complaints?
Exactly, Blessed. So we were given the opportunity to see the oral dashboard, and like you rightly mentioned, 2,417 total number of complaints were received by the oral team, and they worked for a period of 53 days. Now, a total of 924 emails were received by the team. Now, calls received by the team, 1,493. So 1,493 calls were received by the oral team. Petitions received directly by members, 44 petitions, we are told, were received directly by members of the team. And then cases reviewed prior to oral, 59. Now, total number of cases subjected to detailed review as at 6 p.m. on the 9th of February 2025, we are told, are 230 cases. And now, we've been given information also on the value of financial cases reviewed. And we're told that the total value of the financial cases reviewed, that one is pegged at $20.49 billion US. $20.49 billion. That's the value of the total financial cases reviewed. Now, on the estimated value of the state lands reviewed, and the chairman of ORA, Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, made it clear that if those lands were sold at their right prices and their right values, the total would have been 702.8 million US dollars, $702.8 million US dollars. And we're given the total estimated value of all cases reviewed. So all the cases that the oral team reviewed, if you're looking at the estimated value of those cases, we're talking about an amount of $21.19 billion US
I see.
dollars.
That's a lot of figures being put out now, but let's make sense of it and what likely the Attorney General may be doing about this. Fortunately, Felix, you've been listening to the figures being put out now by the oral team. It might be new figures, but for those who are legal experts, they tell us that cases of such nature may run for months, if not years. How are you then planning to recover all of these funds?
Well, the president charged the Attorney General to take swift action to have the cases referred to him investigated and institute immediate prosecutorial action against those that he deemed have questions to answer. And as I speak to you, feverish preparations are going on to hold a number of people accountable for their roles in various corruption scandals and matters relating to corruption. So the government remains very committed. President Mahama remains very committed to the promise that he made to the people of Ghana, that he will exact accountability from all public office holders, past and present. It is the case that this is the material that has been placed before him, which he has handed over to the Attorney General to take action on. And I can confirm that action will commence in the next few hours on some of the more pressing cases that have come to light.
And I'm just curious right now as to what will inform the president's choice in terms of priority. If you take a look at the complaints, over 2,000 of them, the oral team itself had to do a priority basis review, which then brought us to 36 cases in terms of financial graft. What will be informing the president's choice?
Yes, pretty straightforward. They involve raising theft of public funds, and so a review of the documentation and the facts available would indicate that some action has to commence. Others are a bit more complex, and therefore will require more thorough scrutiny and appraisal in order to reach a conclusion as to whether or not further action has to be taken. But those that fall within the category of straightforward cases that can be determined, action will be taken. And as I've indicated, action will commence very, very soon, and you will hear about it.
Are you able to tell Ghanaians if there are individuals named in the report and whether or not these persons are politically exposed?
Well, I have studied some of the reports, so I'm able to tell that every particular case that is handled has a section where the persons who are of interest and are deemed to have played a role or acted in any way to have undermined the financial position of the country are clearly stated. So when you pick any particular case, you will know who is believed to be involved. So in terms of identifying persons who are deemed to have questions to answer, there is no difficulty about it. But as I indicated, the decision to pursue a particular case or the other will depend on the availability of evidence and how easy it is to obtain that evidence.
And since there's no difficulty in the names or perhaps putting them out, a critical case, for instance, will be the National Cathedral. The figures involved and the amount you're mentioning for some is just to stoke a public sentiment against persons who are deemed to be working for God and for country. Are you able to put out names of persons perhaps that the oral team named in this report and likely those who will be prosecuted?
On my part, to mention names on public radio when the processes have not been commenced officially by the Attorney General. What I do know is that as I speak to you, the Attorney General is reviewing some of those cases. And very, very soon, perhaps in a matter of hours, action will commence. As and when those actions take place, we'll be in a position to speak with. But now, it will be completely improper for me to name names. Again, with specific reference to the National Cathedral, I think that the facts around that have been clear. For many years, since that matter broke out, we have discussed it publicly. We in the NDC were very critical of the processes leading up to the spending of $58 million on digging the hole. I believe that the people of Ghana agreed with our position, and that may have also informed the reason why they gave us the overwhelming mandate that they gave us. It is our duty to act on that mandate and hold to account those who decided to waste public resources in the manner they did when there were more pressing concerns that could have been addressed with that same amount. Indeed, some prominent men of God, some prominent pastors, and clergymen publicly resigned because of their stated disagreements with the way that things were being handled with respect to the National Cathedral. So if some of the people who were picked to work on the National Cathedral project themselves became so dissatisfied with the processes and the way that things were being mismanaged and the way funds were being wasted and left, how can anybody be in doubt that clear wrongdoing took place? Fortunately, evidence has become available of the specific wrongdoing, and action will be taken as and when the Attorney General is convinced.
Okay.
That action should be taken. Yeah.
Felix, what will happen if the pieces of evidence, this whole report submitted to the president, fails to yield result?
Well, first of all, that has to be determined by a court of competent jurisdiction. Government's duty through the Attorney General is to ensure that the high suspicion of wrongdoing is looked into, and where the Attorney General is satisfied that sufficient evidence exists for persons to be held accountable, there's a laid-down process, a time-tested process for doing so. That involves preferring charges against the individuals, taking them to court, and giving them an opportunity to answer to those charges. A court will then determine whether they have satisfactorily answered to those charges or that the prosecution led by the Attorney General has been able to establish their guilt. And then a determination will be made. Government is committed to due process, and nobody's rights will be violated.
I see.
Even as we seek to exact accountability. We are confident that based on what we are seeing, sufficient grounds exist for that kind of action.
And for the sake of time, just before you take leave of us, your government is now being criticized. At least we know Ora will move into the phase of Operation Prevent All Loot, which of course Daniel Yadomelevo is excited about, that the president has spoken about. You are now being criticized, in fact, by some anti-graft campaigners, including the likes of Manasseh Azuri, who is worried about the trend we've seen of late, that yes, you're going after these corrupt individuals, but the Attorney General, on the other hand, is dropping charges against persons who were prosecuted or being prosecuted under the Eswell administration. What is accounting and informing these decisions by the AG?
To confirm that later this week, the Attorney General will engage the Ghanaian media and put before them cogent reasons why he has discontinued the cases that were in court.
But for now, are you saying it's justified?
Absolutely. You see, a clear distinction must be drawn between frivolous and callous, malicious prosecution of political opponents and evidence-based prosecution. Let me give you an example. How is it that the former chairman of the NDC is arrested and put before court for many years because he is alleged to have convened a meeting to fashion out a response to the violence that took place at Ayers West? Meanwhile, we don't know that the state-sponsored terrorists who were working on behalf of the MPP that day were the ones who set upon innocent Ghanaians, fired at some of them, inflicted severe wounds on some of them who are yet to recover. There is a commission of inquiry that pointed out specific individuals who should be prosecuted. They were never prosecuted. And yet the national chairman of the NDC, another official, who were at a meeting or alleged to have been at a meeting to discuss a response on how to protect the party and its members from similar attacks, were picked up and prosecuted.
Yeah, but the question is why not exhaust the process? Because these cases are active. At least allow the courts and the judges to conclude the case then.
Now has a right to look at the facts of a case and come to the conclusion that it is a waste of everybody's time. Government should not be in the business of wasting the time of the public and precious resources, dragging people to court over frivolous matters when evidence of clear wrongdoing exists elsewhere. Tell me, did you not see masked men unleash mayhem and violence against innocent Ghanaians at Ayers West? How do we trust a government that overlooks this, does nothing about it, and goes to pick people who have done absolutely nothing beyond allegedly going to a meeting to discuss the party's response? That can be deemed as malicious prosecution. Number two, I follow the Atu-Forson case closely, and I am left in no doubt that it was a wicked, callous, malicious attempt by a rambunctious Attorney General of Edami to silence him for his position on the e-levy, because there was absolutely no substance to that case, and that is why the appeals court threw it out. Rather than allow the matter to rest, the Attorney General took it to the Supreme Court in order to further stifle Atu-Forson, especially when the political season came near. The Attorney General has looked at it and is convinced that there is no merit in that case. But as I have said, the Attorney General himself is committed to accounting to the people of Ghana on these cases. So just this week, he will hold a press event.
Okay, and
outline the reasons why he has had to take this step. But let us not conflict that with the need to hold people who have committed brazen thefts of public resources accountable.
Grateful for your time, Minister of State responsible for government communications, Felix Kwachio, for speaking to us there. And apologies, Adam Senanu, who's an anti-graft campaigner who's been on with us all this while. And you've listened to government's position on this matter. It's not just about dropping the cases, it's also about going after persons who are, looting state's assets. Adam? We seem to have lost Adam Senanu there. But take a listen to some of the key members of Oral who are tonight speaking to us about the expectations going into the next phase of this operation.
And let me be very honest with you. My pain as a former Auditor General has always been that usually there are no consequences for misbehavior in this country. And the body language or the posturing of the president and his team, to me, is heartwarming. That if not anything at all, for the first time, we are going to see some seriousness on the ground. Seriousness not because we have by ourselves decided that somebody is guilty of anything. No, we have not accused anybody of anything, but we have provided information that we collected from the public. And if the next stage, which I find as a very critical stage, is carried out as promised by the president, then we will be saving this country good sums of money. But to me, it is not only that, to stop or nip in the bud that culture of impunity where somebody assumes public office and he thinks that because I'm a public officer, I can appropriate public properties to my selfish.
And of course, that's the former Auditor General Daniel Yaw-Domelevo. And in the coming days, you will be hearing from some other key figures of that oral task force. I want to bring in Adam Sinan, who is an anti-graft campaigner. Thank you, Adam, for staying on with us. I bet we have a better line to you right now. Give us a sense of, what you make of the justification by the government that it ought to prosecute these individuals and let go of the quote-unquote political cases that were pursued by the former Attorney General.
Well, I think that the aspect of going after and following up on the information provided to Oral, that was definitely what all of us expected. So there's no news there. That information needs to be handed over to the right quarters. The AG looks at it, screens it, validates what it needs to, moves it on to whichever agencies are seized with their respective mandate of that area of anti-graft. However, with the aspect of the cases being dropped, I think that the government needs to make haste slowly. Ideally, the thinking around which cases are not prosecutable, which cases have traveled a distance because really they're not amounting to much, all of that should have been brought out to the public domain for people to wrap their minds around it, so that by the time you get to saying we want to drop A or B, there is clarity. I think dropping the cases before coming later into the public domain to provide explanations is not the way to go. Again, I have read Manasseh's piece, and he's quite right that we need to be careful we don't, as it were, leave one clearing agent space to another clearing agent space. And so I'm a bit concerned. I think that providing the justifications and the thinking around some of these things, or just putting out the information so that right-minded citizens can also, engage with the content and draw their own conclusions in advance of any such actions, would have probably provided the best context within which to take any such actions.
And of course, it's a good time to take the perspective of the minority caucus in Parliament. Vincent Sefwa belongs to that caucus. Initially, they were raising concerns about the legality or otherwise of the team. And now it's confirmed that, the docket, if you want to call it as such, is not yet a docket, has been submitted to the president. All of these reports, according to Felix, has names of former government appointees, and perhaps it might include some members of your party. Your fears?
Well, let me say a very good evening to you and to your cherished viewers. I don't think there are any fears at all, especially when you look at the trend in terms of what I have seen to have been bandied around, especially right after the NDC won elections, the kind of presentations that have been made by the leader of Oral, which sent a certain signal that it is much ado about nothing. It is just suspicions, unnecessary allegations, the lack of understanding as to how some of these things work. And so, if anybody says that there should be fear in the spines of the New Patriotic Party, there's no fear. There's no fear because I have seen what the leader of the Oral was putting out as if these were corrupt practices and corrupt actions. I do not find those ones largely as anything that will put any fear in the spines of the New Patriotic Party. I can only also say that what has been sent to His Excellency the President, I would have wished that I see exactly what it is. However, we can only be patient and see what His Excellency the President will do, especially now that they are making us understand that they are expert in as it were assessing cases that are already in court, to also know the intent of the prosecution at the time, to see that the intent of the prosecution is not right And the facts that are available at the AG office is also not right. And for that matter, they are filing nolli prosequa and withdrawal. I want to see how all these things will play out.
And indeed, we await all of that for the sake of time. Would now yield to Mary Ada, who is with the Ghana Integrity Initiative. And you've also been listening to the president assure the nation that there will no longer be a safe haven for corruption in this country. Are you rest assured, giving the comments by the president?
So good evening to you. I would want to say that we have heard that in the past. Presidents have assured that they would do that. I remember in the recent past, Nanado saying similar things, and then in the end, the contrary was the case, which we all experienced. And so to see that this time around, people have collated information from citizens who are very willing to share these reports with them, and there is going to be investigation. Let's wait and see what happens, because as we would say, the sweetness of the pudding is in the eating. Let's see how it goes, because it's not just about collecting and investigating. We would also have an opportunity where people who have been cited would then have to go forward. And like it has been said before, in all of this, the evidence would be the game changer. And as the Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye has indicated, most of the instances would have to come with some evidence. And if you look at the numbers, over 2,000 cases were reported, emails and others sent, and it is out of these 36 or so have been documented as the priority ones they want to pay attention to. Let's see how this pans out, but we are very happy as anti-corruption people that we are seeing some action taking place. And this action would only give us the assurance if we begin to see some very good collaborations happening between the Office of the Attorney General and the other institutions set up to also fight corruption. Therein, that's where we'll begin to see the results, and then we'll also see the people of Ghana will be assured.
Indeed. Right. Evidence is the name of the game. Top story with me, Blessed Sogah, brought to you by Telecel and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Next is Newsnight.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, a boycott to the very end. NPP MPs refuse to participate in special committee probing the chaos at the Appointments Committee as the investigative committee completes its public hearing, expecting to present its report by the end of this week.
I want to inform honourable members that the minority has decided not to be part of the committee's work until the Speaker gives the directives tomorrow.
We have details as former MP Inusa Fuseni calls on the chairman to be measured in his public comments.
He should leave the public to make or draw their own conclusions from what is happening. The chairman should refrain from commenting on the procedures.
And there's more on oral. Tonight we'll be disappointed if the President and the Attorney General do nothing about the report we have submitted to them. Words of members of the oral committee as they submit a hefty report of their work to the President.
I am very optimistic. Otherwise, I'll be extremely disappointed in him and the Attorney General. If after we have sacrificed to do all this and they don't subject these issues to proper investigation.
They are all very compelling cases. And we can't wait to see the Attorney General go into full gear.
We have details as President Mahama hands over the report to the Attorney General with instructions to work on it as soon as possible.
The work does not end here. I have promptly handed over the reports to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and I give him firm instructions to commence immediate investigations for corruption or related offences.
And also tonight, help is here. I'll take you to the Eastern region as the Ministry of Defense deploys personnel from the 48th Engineering Regiment to begin assessment for the permanent construction of the Sokol Bridge following a viral video of two young pupils struggling to cross the river in their quest for education. Plus, the Ministry of Health also shivers over a 90-day pause of U.S. aid as it plans to commence negotiations with the international community on sustaining a lifeline for health emergencies.
We need them. We'll be engaging them. They've given us 90 days. Let's pray that it will not go beyond the 90 days. But I don't think there's any cause of alarm for now, especially with the emergencies they were assisting.
Also, Director General of Ghana Health Service directs treatment of meningitis cases to be made free to ensure early reporting of cases. We have business.
Now, IMF Mission Chief Stefan Rode leads visiting team to engage government on the economy and the 2025 budget.
And in sports, Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko demand lion's share of TV broadcast revenue and permanent seats on the GFA Executive Committee in reform proposal presented to the Ghana FA.
And it's deadline day for receipt of nominations for Joy News Impact Makers Awards 2025. With over 100 nominations received from all 16 regions so far, sorting is set to begin.
We are promising you that if you make yourself available, we are ready to make our platform also available to you to give you that exposure. And who knows, that will be where you would get the support that you have always been yearning for to be able to expand what you're doing.
That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. You want to join us with your thoughts, your comments via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. You can hit us with the hashtag Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu. Details shortly. Many thanks for staying with us. It's 30 years of joyfulness. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Before we take a quick break, let's head to the Eastern region now. And tonight, help is here. The Ministry of Defense has deployed personnel from the 48th Engineering Regiment to take initial assessment and estimate for the permanent construction of a bridge over the Sokol River in the Upper West Achim district of the Eastern region. Well, this follows a heart-wrenching viral video of two young pupils struggling to cross the river on the back of the other as they make their way across a piece of log in their quest for education. The president commented on the Facebook post and assured of a swift intervention. Well, tonight, the Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Akosua-Awate, together with members of Parliament for Upper and Lower West Achim constituencies and the soldiers, visited the community and assured the people of speedy construction to ease their burden. Eastern Regional Correspondent Kofi Sian was part of the team. We'll get to hear from the Regional Minister and the members of Parliament as they visited the area. But I'm wishing to know, Kofi, what did the initial assessment of the engineers actually reveal? Did they say?
Okay, so the soldiers themselves didn't speak. They actually had an interaction with the regional minister in out of camera. So as to what actually the assessment was about, the media wasn't told.
But what has been the reaction of residents so far to this swift intervention?
Okay, so they are happy. They express their satisfaction with the swift, intervention of the president and the government, and they were full of praise for the president and the regional minister for coming to their aid.
Now, tell me, Kofi, what exactly did this assessment and initial visit entail? What exactly did they do on the ground when they got there?
Okay, so the soldiers, the 40 members of the 48 engineers, we saw some of them taking measurement as to, the stretch of the bridge they're going to construct. They also spoke to the residents, some of them, and they ascertained from them how they were able to cross the river from their homes to the other side. So they were jotting some points down, but as to the exact technical thing they want to do with it, we cannot tell.
How deep is this Sokol River, you would say?
Come again?
I'm asking how deep this river is.
Well, if you ask the people, they tell you that when you are not lucky and you fall into it, you are not likely to survive. So they are worried about the situation, and they think that if nothing is done about it, people are going to die.
And this is the daily plight of residents. They have to cross this river every morning, especially these children or pupils to go to school every day.
That is it, Emefa.
How far away is the school from the community?
Okay, so it's about let's say less than 1 kilometer, but because of the river, the pupils cannot cross. So usually most of the students would want to or prefer to stay home. They wouldn't go to school at all.
And there's never been a bridge across the Sesoko River, as far as you can remember?
There has never been a bridge.
Well, you've been interacting with the minister for the area, at least the Eastern Regional Minister. What exactly has he been saying? Okay, so she told us that she came there on the directive of the president, and also the Regional Coordinating Council also showed concern when the MP for the area and the district officers in that area reported the incident to them. So she was there actually to ascertain for herself the extent of, the danger and the risk the residents and the students had to go through so that they can find lasting solution to the problem.
Quite a few days ago, there was a viral video of a boy carrying the little brother behind. We got to know the young boy is called Wise with the little brother Alaji. We saw the way the guy demonstrated military strength to carry his brother to cross the bridge, the three without a bridge. We are here today because the whole of Ghana has been attracted to the bravery nature of the young man and to the worrying situation of the crossing the river. We have also seen that the Defense Ministry has gotten interested because of the bravery nature of the young man, and our President John Dramani Mahama is also interested in the issue. We are here today to tell the people of Esoko that our president have seen their plight. The Defense Ministry has seen their plight, and living here, we are leaving them with one word, that we are a government that deliver on our promise. So, living here is not just like leaving them. Very soon, the project will be started, and the people of Esioko are going to have their children crossing this river in peace to go out and come back. We thank you for the presence of everyone here. So we say God bless you till we meet again. Thank you.
So that's the Eastern Regional Minister. I can't believe I've been saying Isuko. I've just heard her say Isioko. So that's the Eastern Regional Minister, Rita Akusia Awate there. Essentially, that means that, Red River. But we've been hearing from the Member of Parliament for Upper West Achim, Emmanuel Dra also. He described the situation as rather troubling. We can hear from the MP as well.
It is so troubling. As you can see, children of this age crossing from this community to the other community. It is very dangerous. As I indicated earlier on, the main route that links Adeso, Asamai, Akwete, Abodia is always busy. And so these children thought it wise that it is rather safe crossing from this side to the other side than using the main route. And you see, as we can all see, now that the rains have started, the water level has started coming up. And so if something is not done immediately about it, we are going to have a lot of problems.
That's a lamentation of the MP for Upper West Achim, Emmanuel Dra. But as we speak, the Ministry of Defense has deployed personnel from the 48 engineering regiments to take initial assessment and estimate for the permanent construction. If you happen to live near that Isoko River, and you can send us a message, it's via WhatsApp, is 055-1111-997. You can also leave a comment on all our social media platforms. I think it's a good time to take you to Parliament now. And tonight, the special committee set up by Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing, has concluded its hearings into the chaos that occurred at the Appointments Committee despite a full-blown boycott by the NPP side of the House. Well, it will be recalled that the NPP withdrew from the committee during its first hearing. At its second hearing, they completely boycotted and refused to show up today on its third sitting. Well, they had issued a letter to the committee, stating that they are expecting that the Speaker will actually make a determination on the matter before they can appear before the committee. But you can listen to the chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra, reading that memo from the minority leader to the hearing of all.
I would like to draw the attention of colleagues in the media to a letter I've received from the minority leader to the committee. And I would like to read it to colleagues here. To the chairman ad hoc committee, Honorable Emmanuel Bejra, from minority leader Osahin Alexander Kwamina Penyomakin, copy majority leader and leader of government business, 10th February 2025. Minorities of position on the committee's proceedings. I write to inform you that I have submitted memorandum to the Right Honorable Speaker on behalf of the Minority Caucus regarding concerns surrounding your continual chairmanship of the ad hoc committee's proceeding. Pursuant to this, and given the significance of these issues raised, the Minority Caucus consider it prudent to await the Speaker's response before taking further steps in relation to the committee's work. This should not be misconstrued as unwillingness on part of the minority to engage with the committee. Rather, it's a necessary step to ensure that due process is followed and the process remains fair, impartial, and credible. We trust that the Speaker will address these concerns in a manner that upholds the integrity of the committee's work and the broader interests of Parliament. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to a resolution that ensures confidence in the committee's proceedings. Respectfully submitted. On that note, I want to inform honorable members that the minority has decided not to be part of the committee's work until the Speaker gives the directives tomorrow.
So that's the chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra. We have our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, joining us from Parliament. You've been sitting through proceedings today, but at the end of the sitting, we will go through all that transpired, though. Did we hear from the Speaker on this today?
Not at all. In fact, around 10 a.m., the Speaker's convoy, I was outside, I saw it driving to his office, and then he had some meeting with leadership. We have no understanding yet what exactly that meeting was about. In fact, Roxanne Dafamepo, who testified before this committee at some point, had to leave and go into this meeting with the Speaker. It was a leadership meeting. We are yet to get some understanding. So officially, the Speaker is yet to or respond to the memo sent to his office by Alexander Fenyomakin requesting that Emmanuel Kwesi Bejra be removed as chairman of the committee. We also know that Emmanuel Bejra himself had been waiting for some guidance from the Speaker on that matter, as well as their request to extend their minimum date to present a report by another 2 days. That response also hasn't come, and so perhaps the Speaker tomorrow, when he takes the floor, will be willing to put these matters to bed.
Well, you've been mentioning Roxanne Nelson Dafamepo, and he took his seat as a witness today. Let's go through his testimony.
Well, yes, according to Roxanne Nelson Dafamepo, and in fact responding to questions about that clash with Honorable Hassan Tampuli, he explained how he ended up in that brawl with Hassan Tampuli. He explained that the MP had accosted one of his colleagues, and in fact, given his weight and his size, was in his words bullying that NDC member, and so he did go there to try and calm things, and then that was turned on him. We can listen to his testimony when he appeared before the committee.
Worried that out of the blue, a decision is being made to not vet persons we had programmed. And then the minority on the committee will just say that we won't hear you today. Go and come tomorrow. When they are done, we have made protocol arrangements and all. So, Chairman, you can understand. So it posed a problem for me. All efforts to get them to disengage from that position failed. And they are lined up this way. They have brought in more men, more colleagues. And if you saw from the videos, had tried as much as possible to get my members to remain calm, but I was roving. When I cannot took his seat, suddenly he was swamped. So I came to stand by him to ensure that he got sworn in and made ready for the proceedings to kickstart. Then Charles came to support me, and then Jerry came and Charles came to support me, as it were. He stood by his right hand side, if I recall, and I was this way, trying to get the clerk to get him sworn in. Then Jerry left. Jerry Shaib went back. Then I saw Charles in a tango with the Honorable Tampuri, yes, that's my brother's name. And there was a crack in the first table. It's been pulled apart. So there was a big crack in between the first table and the second. And because of that opening, Charles got trapped in there. And I saw his back. I was looking at his back. And Tampuri was over him. And then,
sorry, Honorable Chief Whip, can you specify? There are two different Charleses on this.
Charles Asiru,
very well.
my brother who just took the seat. So, and Tampuri is much heavier set than Charles. And given the situation I saw that he was in, if I hadn't rushed to rescue him from the grip, I don't know what would have happened, because the table was firmly in place and he was.
Well, there's a reason, Kweku, that I played the whole sound in full, even though it's very long. I was hoping to hear that rumor about somebody's balls being held, amongst others, being addressed. It didn't come up at all?
Yeah, so it was a former Deputy Health Minister who did make that allegation on another radio station. It did not come up today. No member of this committee did ask Honorable Dafemepo if that indeed happened. But we know that he has already taken to his Twitter page to say that nothing of that sort happened, and that it was a quote unquote a silly joke that people have been made, and that no one held his balls.
Okay. Well, there was an interesting twist though. A member of the public came to the committee, and the exchanges between his lawyer and members of the committee. Let's talk about it.
Yes, there is a man called Glory Opeku George, who is seen in the video while the MPs were haggling with each other, trying in his own words, trying to calm the situation. Last week he came and he tried to offer some testimony, and some of the things he said were allegedly contradictory. And so the committee reminded him that if he needed a lawyer, he should actually get a lawyer and come back today. He took that advice and brought his legal team today, and the legal team did some exchanges with some of the members of the committee as to whether or not he was required to get an invitation before coming into that vetting committee room.
So to assist you, 2882 provides that a member shall not admit a stranger into any part of the house reserved for members while Parliament is sitting. So any part of the house reserved for members, and this is part of the house, and this part is reserved for members.
My counsel want to come over.
You want your counsel to offer some explanation? Okay, very well.
Thank you, the chair and honorable members. We take the view that the standing orders of Parliament distinguish between admission of a stranger into committees and admission of the stranger into the House. For example, Order 2 is very clear, whilst 288 deals explicitly with admission of strangers into the House. There are specific provisions on the standing orders, particularly Order 266, 2661, 2677, and 271.
Some interesting interaction there between that witness, the lawyer, and the committee members. But in all this, the committee is looking to have its time extended. You've been talking about it earlier. What will happen then?
Well, yes, the committee has now concluded its public hearings. They are not going to hear anyone. In fact, they're expected to hear from us at Joy News. But of course, we raised some issues with the invitation they had sent to us just this morning while they expected us to also testify at that very moment. And so we couldn't honor that invitation for now. But the committee says it is going to start presenting its report, writing it. Per the timeline, tomorrow would have been the 10 days expiry, and they would have had to present their report to the speaker. But it's clear they may not be able to do so, and so Emmanuel Bejra is requesting for some 2 days extension from the Speaker of Parliament. And ultimately, if that is granted, they are looking forward to presenting their report by the end of the week, and then this will be put to the floor for a debate.
Okay.
There will be a debate from both sides of the aisle, and then a question will be put on that matter if it is needed, and then the consequential orders and directives that will be made from there will flow from the Speaker of Parliament.
Well, but we have deputy ministerial nominees list out. Do we know when exactly that vetting will also begin?
We understand on Friday the appointment committee scheduled a meeting. In fact, it was advertised on the other paper for the committee to meet and schedule out and flesh out the modalities for the 13 persons that John Dramani Mahama so far nominated for deputy ministerial nomination, as well as one minister of state.
Okay.
They are yet to firm up details. There are still a few outstanding issues that the committee is looking to deal with. If they are able to conclude that, they expect to do that from Wednesday perhaps. If they are not able to, then the vetting will happen next week.
But Charlie, you be serious commenting that. That's a quick West Santiza parliamentary affairs correspondent. We're looking forward to having him appear before the committee today. But we've been hearing from a former member of parliament for Tamale Central, Emefa Apawu. He's called on the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Mano Kwesi Bejra, to be measured in his public utterance on the work of the committee.
We know very well.
The only grievous matter that I see in all this thing is that he is of the view that the chairman of the committee speaking publicly on matters of the committee could prejudice the credibility, could affect the credibility of the investigations. So I would only advise that the leader of the committee, the chairman of the committee, should refrain from commenting on matters that have ensued at the committee.
That's Emefa Apawu there speaking on Newsfile with Samson Ladi and Yenene. Well, it's a good time to take a quick break here on Newsnight. We'll return with business with George Riafe. I can't wait to see what he's been saying when it's time for sports. But let's take a quick break. We're right back. We'll take some of your messages also via WhatsApp is 055 1111997. Please just stay with us.
Reasons why we connect each child. You know, be say we want make one our loved ones happy.
Daddy, thanks for the tea cash. Okay, I love you.
That be my daughter Angela.
Never could you. I mean, sure why? Tea cash naba. I know Papa Yinaja was sick.
Say I go take care of my parents. It be my duty. Say make I pay my bills. I dey use Telecel cash. The suppliers for my shop there.
Hello boss, I get a Telecel cash alert too. They deliver the things right there.
I dey make them happy because I fit pay them directly to the merchant number for any network talk. Then sort my people out with Telecel cash for free.
If one a family parties, then business partners they happy. It be they make one a connection strong. Carry Telecel cash, send money, gives your people for them a Telecel cash wallet store. Any day, anytime. It be free. Make you save money. Tap cool. Then make your menace smile. Anytime you go carry Telecel cash, send them money.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Dana kron kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
There is love at Orca Deco this Valentine's season. We've got lovely discounts on selected home furniture and accessories. Enjoy 20% off exclusive furniture, decor, accessories, and many more. Orca has everything to make your sweetheart feel truly special. Set the mood and experience the art of living this Valentine at Orca from now until 16th February. Visit Orca Deco on the Spintex Road before everything runs out.
There's this News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We're live on myjoyonline.com, live on Facebook, and you've sent us a few of your messages as I bring George Riafi in with the latest from the world of business. This one from Sami in Kumasi says the swift intervention by President Mahama directing the Eastern Regional Minister and the military to get first-hand information on the so-called bridge, which poses enormous risk to the life of the residents, especially the young, are struggling to have access to education is a clear indication that his government will indeed reset Ghana. Nane Kuyamwa Boating, Blakuma Central, says this so-called oral report is much ado about nothing. This will not travel anywhere. I see this as a diversionary tactic. Fuel prices are on the rise. Exchange rate is at its peak, and they just want to tune our minds of these things. Musa Abatwa in Kumasi says oral deserves commendation for their dedication to God and country. Thanks to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for setting up the committee. The resetting agenda, he says, is on course. And we have this one from Laura Etonam in Keta. He says, thank you, Joy News, for the good works. Thanks to the minister for that initiative. But there are other communities where people cross the river to have access to education. We'll be so glad that you can give us some of these names. He says he can mention a village called Wenyago in the Keta municipal, which is nearer to Atiavi. The peoples there are also in the same condition. Emmanuel Jivenu and the team are listening, and I'm sure Etonam will get in touch with you for some more information on this. And Yahweh Nachimota says this oral report is much ado about nothing. It is just to tell us that the president has fulfilled his 100-day promise. End of story. And mark my words, you say inconclusive comment there. Yao Inachimota, some of your comments that you sent in, thank you so much for your comments via WhatsApp. You can send them in, and when we return from the break tonight, they say they'll be disappointed if the president and the attorney general does nothing about the report they submitted to them. These are the words of the oral committee as they submit that hefty report of their work to the president. And many of you have been commenting on it. We've been doing that extensively also on Top Story. We have details of that and more here on Newsnight. Let me bring in George Riafe. You don't want to read the note that Kwekwa Asante has sent.
Oh, that boy is just being mischievous.
He's
so
not
I think
a boy,
that man is being mischievous.
But is it true? Should I read it?
That what?
Should I read it?
It's much. You use the word about much ado about nothing. So please,
should I read the notes? I have a note in my hand. Those of you watching on Facebook, this is the note.
Please. I mean,
I shouldn't read it. Bribe me.
I don't need to bribe, but don't dignify.
No, I trust Kweku. Hey,
in this case, there's not a commentary running here on Parliament, development in Parliament.
In business, George?
Well, coming up, IMF Mission Chief Stefan Rode leads team to engage government on the economy and the 2025 budget. And energy analyst Dr. Yusuf Suleiman formally takes over as new managing director of Tema Oil Refinery. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. Sinter's Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush the feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
For 10 times stronger teeth.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the IMF Mission Chief, Stefan Rode, is leading an IMF team to engage government on the economy in the 2025 budget. Now, this was contained in an official statement released by the Ministry of Finance today. There is more in this report.
The Ministry of Finance statement again revealed that the engagement will end on this Friday, February 14, 2025. This confirmed the earlier report by Joy Business about this visit by the IMF to engage government on the economy and the 2025 budget. The statement from the Ministry of Finance also revealed that discussions will center primarily on Ghana's progress under the IMF program and the policy direction of government, especially when it comes to the 2025 budget. Other critical areas that the visiting IMF team will touch on during the visit will include revenue administration reforms, energy, expenditure rationalization, monetary and exchange rate policy. In terms of institutions, the Bank of Ghana, Ghana Revenue Authority, and the Controller and Accountant General, as well as other key institutions, are expected to be present in the scheduled meetings. Government has promised that it is committed to prioritizing the macroeconomic stability, job creation, and improving the livelihood of Ghanaians.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, economist Professor Lord Mensah is rejecting arguments that government will struggle to convince the IMF on the proposed tax cuts. Now, this is one of the key issues that government is planning to discuss with the visiting IMF team. Professor Mensah believes that government has taken some steps that could convince the IMF.
If you reduce your taxes, it's a way of reducing revenue. But then you only generate revenue when you need more expenditure. And the government has also given us the signal that they're planning of cutting down, expenditure, which is reflecting in even the number of ministers that they have appointed. So from where I sit, if you want to maintain a certain budget deficit within a range, right, you either cut down your revenue or you cut down expenditure. Okay, so cutting down expenditure and then bringing down revenue, you're doing the same thing. The IMF itself knows very well that the country was having a problem of tax fatigue, where businesses were choking as a result of the various tax handles that were introduced by the previous administration, and even how inconsistent these taxes were. So from where I sit, I don't think, the IMF is going to have problem with a tax cut. And more so,
And that is economist Professor Lord Mensah. Now, energy analyst Dr. Yusuf Suleiman has finally taken over as the new managing director of Tema Oil Refinery. Now, this was after a formal handing over program this morning between the former boss of the institution, Kofi Togbe Makumbi, and also him as well. Now, for me, his major challenge will be how to turn around the dwindling fortunes of the oil refinery and bring it back to full operations, a move that industry persons have argued that could impact on the cost of petroleum products in the country. Let's still stay on some industry development because the new chief executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Samuel Majid, has begun his key sector engagement under his scope. Now, this was after he actually engaged the boards of the institution, that is with respect to the chief executive of the Free Zones Authority, to get some understanding about the workings of that institution. That engagement actually happened last Friday. They believe that working together could go a long way to help improve foreign direct investment into the country. Now, as Chief Executive Director of the Ghana Gold Export Foundation, Dr. Stephen Aka is appealing to government not to cancel the Gold for Oil program. It's coming after the Energy Minister, John Jinapor, announced that he would move to scrap the program. Dr. Aka says that this could affect fuel prices in the country.
I don't think the government end the Gold for Oil program because it's clear. And at somewhere in June, the World Gold Council is inviting. I was shocked yesterday. I received an email from the World Gold Council that Ghana has been published officially, in the reserve program, and they stated that Ghana is among the top 5 countries that are practicing the domestic purchase program under the World Gold Council. And I was trying to check. In December, the central bank purchased 1 ton, which is 1,000 kilos of gold.
Dr. Stephen Aka is the Executive Director of the Ghana Gold Expo Foundation. Meanwhile, the Association of Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies is challenging claims by the former Chief Executive of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation company, that the Gold for Oil program has actually helped to reduce the prices of petroleum products at the pumps. Now, Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosujari, has announced the decision to embark on a comprehensive evaluation of the financial position of Gehog Day Industries. Now, this is to ensure that the true financial capability of the company is identified to support government's 24-hour economy. The minister made a disclosure in an interview with journalists after a short working visit to some key institutions under the ministry, including Gehog, the distilleries, and the Ghana Free Zones Authority and the Ghana Enterprises Agency.
One thing I can tell you for sure is that Excellency John Dramani Mahama is committed to making sure that all our industries are up and doing, and whatever assistance we need to give them to thrive, we are willing to do that. When we went around, you saw the installed capacity and what they are doing at the moment. They are producing way below average. So after the evaluation has been done and we know the total health of this place, then we know what kind of help we will give. Obviously, the machines are old. They showed me one that is failing. It's supposed to fill 12,000. Right now, it is doing 2,000. Cost of production is certainly going to be very high.
Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosujari. To the stock market, if you're holding shares of Standard Chartered Bank, the value of each share went up by 2 cedis 1 peso to close trading at actually 25 cedis 1 peso. Now, that is what, if you have invested on the stock market from the beginning of this year, returns now stands at more than 7%. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Is it back to Daniel Kranteng for sports, or it's back to you, Emefa?
What are you waiting to say? Daniel, please, I've been able to ask him what this sports is all about.
You know, there was a guy on.
Oh goodness!
There was a guy on VOA.
It's okay. I know. It's okay.
Okay. So that's where I'm getting.
Sports. Give us sports, Daniel.
Let's go straight into the sports stories. And Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko have demanded a lion's share of the TV broadcast revenue and permanent seats on the GFA Executive Committee in a reform proposal presented to the Ghana FA earlier today. In their proposal, the clubs expressed deep concerns about the current state of the league and emphasized the need for immediate interventions, particularly in the area of security and club licensing regulations. Achutamaklo has more.
The two clubs want automatic slots on the GFA's Executive Council, which will require changing the current statute to exempt 2 members from the council's elections. They are also asking for revenue share of the broadcast rights deal to reflect their contribution and the number of their televised matches to be made known before the commencement of each season. Today's statements also demanded the constitution of an autonomous league to be run by an independent management team. Hearts and Kotoko are also asking for reinforced police and military presence numbering up to 120 for each match and a strict enforcement of the club licensing requirements for venue protocols. In fact, they went as far as saying that if any venue did not meet requirements, the match ought to be hosted by a different venue. The proposal also asks for a full implementation of the Gbadegbe Commission's reports.
Joy Sports Achu Tamako summarizing the reforms that Ahato Folk and Asante Kotoko presented to the Ghana FA earlier today. Bring an end to sports. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Denny, for the latest from the world of sports. Now, let me take you to the Western North region now, and the Awin Traditional Council has banished its Member of Parliament Oscar Furilabi, citing gross insubordination toward the Omanhen and alleged involvement in illegal mining activities. Well, the council's decision follows what it describes as repeated act of disrespect and a failure to uphold the interests of the traditional authority. Well, the council has been very vocal about Labi's alleged involvement in illegal mining activities in the Tano Anwea Forest Reserve. Labi has actually denied these allegations, claiming that he is taking steps to combat illegal mining rather in the area. The traditional council, led by the chief of Omampe, Nana Opong Penyin III, conducted a ritual involving the slaughtering of a sheep and the pouring of libation, calling upon the gods of our own traditional area to deal with Labi if he disobeys the ban.
This decisive action by Nananom is in recognition of the fact that although the MP was duly elected in the immediate past national elections by the electorate in the Awanyi constituency, he is misusing the mandate of the people of Awanyi constituency insubordinately to plot against and erode the hard-earned reputation of Boyeman Tanoko Abdul, the Omahine and president of the Awanyi Traditional Council. It is beyond anonymous imagination that the Honorable MP, who stood on the ticket of NDC elected firstly through his party electorate, has on 3 occasions ignored invitation by Nanano. Again, he has orchestrated nationwide radio interviews through which he displayed gross insubordination towards Awanyi Omahine and the chiefs in the Awanyi traditional area.
Well, so that's the chief there speaking to us, and Nana Opong Penyin III at that press conference, I should say. And the Member of Parliament for the area, Oscar Labi, has declined comments on this matter or the decision taken by the Traditional Council. But thankfully, we have on the phone the Western North Regional Minister, Wilbert Brintum. Thank you so much for your time, sir, here on Newsnight. So what would you say has been your intervention in this whole matter so far?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you and your cherished listeners. Honestly, I've heard things like this have been happening in the Awawin traditional area, or let me put it, the Awawin district or municipal. But in actual fact, I wasn't on the ground myself to actually assess the situation, whether indeed there was an illegal mining going on and the MP was involved. You know, after you were nominated as ministers, we were waiting to be vetted. So looking at the distance from Enchi to Accra, I decided to be in Accra so that as soon as they call me, I can avail myself for the vetting. So honestly and frankly speaking, I don't have any first-hand information to be able to speak to this issue thoroughly.
Okay, but as it stands now, there's a ban that has been imposed on the MP, Mr. Labi. You're saying this is also an issue that has not been brought to your attention yet. But now that you're aware of it, is there really an action that you're hoping to take?
Oh, yes. Actually, the ban is a very unfortunate thing that has happened to the Honorable MP. But Nananum, they know what I think they are doing. So what we need to do is to actually bring the two parties together. It's very unfortunate this thing has happened. And I begin to ask whether there was something someone or myself could have done proactively to, pick this occurrence or to avert it. So it's unfortunate. But once it has happened, then what we will do is to find a way to bring the two parties together in an amicable manner.
Okay.
Because we cannot develop if we have rift between our MPs and our traditional authorities, who we revere very much. But you see, as humans, certain things like this can happen. But once it happens, we need to find a very good way to ensure that we settle that amicably.
But it's also the government of the allegation that has been made against the MP. The issue about being involved in illegal mining. He may have denied it, but the chiefs insist that this is what he's doing. What exactly are you hoping to do about that leg of the issue as well?
That's what I'm saying. I cannot actually speak to that. You see, I cannot. That's an allegation as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
I've not made a ground assessment myself to ascertain whether that is true or not. In any case, I cannot doubt Nanano, but then I also can't, concretely say that happened. That happened, yes.
Okay. Well, we'll see how this turns out. We are grateful for your time. That's Wilbert Brentum. He's the Western North Regional Minister. Insists that this is the first time he's hearing about these issues, and hopefully we'll get into the bottom of it. We have correspondents on the ground. Lord Teria has been following this particular incident, and as and when we get more, we'll bring that to you. But tonight, members of the Oral Committee have urged President John Mahama and the Attorney General to act on the extensive report detailing suspected cases of looting over the past 8 years, set up by Mahama to track corruption and recommend possible recoveries. The committee has worked for 53 days, receiving over 2,400 complaints, 900 via email, 1,400 through phone calls, and 44 petitions. While speaking to some members, they remain confident in their work. For instance, the former Auditor General, Daniel Yao Domelevo, says he would be deeply disappointed if their efforts lead to nothing. He's been speaking to my colleague Maxwell Agbagba, Presidential Affairs Correspondent.
What shocked me most is the extreme abuse of public office. If not anything at all, for the first time, we are going to see some seriousness on the ground. Seriousness not because we have by ourselves decided that somebody is guilty of anything. No, we have not accused anybody of anything, but we have provided information that we collected from the public. And if the next stage, which I find as a very critical stage, is carried out as promised by the president, then we will be saving this country good sums of money. But to me, it is not only that. To stop or nip on the bud in the bud that culture of impunity. The president made a point which made me extremely happy. He didn't talk about only oral. He talked about OPAL, Operation Prevent All Loot. That is the most important thing. Yes.
That's Daniel Yao Domelevo there. I will bring you more subsequently. You want to catch also the Joy News Prime at 7 p.m. on the Joy News channel for more updates on this. Now, finding one's career path is a journey that often takes years, even decades. But for the 3-year-old Nancy Owusu, destiny seems to have braided itself neatly into her tiny fingers. Despite her tender age, Nancy has already dazzled the world with an extraordinary talent for hair braiding, a skill her parents believe is nothing short of a natural gift. Emmanuel Bright Kweko reports.
Bobina me. Bobina me. Mama Bowen rain. Bobo wait rain. Until we are mama Bobby.
Little Nancy, busy at work with all seriousness and dexterity to get a plait of hair done. Swiftly twisting the strands of hair, the 3-year-old's adeptness at braiding has left residents in Tabre, a community along the Kumasi-Sunyani Road, in awe. It all began one afternoon after she returned from school. Amina Yakubu is the mother.
1.5 months in Tobani botri.
A month and a half ago, when she returned from school, she worried me to allow her join us braid. I did not mind her until she woke up from her sleep and forcefully joined us. I was surprised at how she was braiding. After an exciting day at school, little Nancy spends her leisure time doing what she loves and does best. I am glad my daughter could braid because she could also take up my job. Realizing her uniqueness and potential, Ebenezer Kubila, a relative, now her social media manager, set up an account on various platforms to expose the unique skill to the world.
I want the whole world to hear of her.
Little Nancy has attracted a lot of customers to her mother's beauty parlor to receive the gentle, soft touch of her tiny hands. She told me some time back that she would want to braid my hair, but I never believed her until I saw her braiding with her mother. I was surprised. With no official attempt for a world record, you perhaps may want to consider her Ghana's youngest braider. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
How old are you?
3 years old.
You are 3 years old.
That's so interesting. And that's Emmanuel Bright Kweku's report there. And it's Valentine's Day this week already. It's on Friday. Yeah? Okay. So when you have so much love to give and so many ways to express it, but your feet can carry you and public transport shuns you, that's the plight of Muntala Mohammed. His biggest desire is to take his wife, Joy, on a joyful date this Valentine's Day. Well, this story by Emmanuel Jivenu takes you into the home of a couple with physical disabilities who have defied the expectations of skeptics and given true meaning to love for 17 years.
17 years ago, Murtala Mohammed and Joy Dolce met on a basketball court, a game they both love. Today, their love story continues to flourish.
You know, the feeling is there, to be honest with you, bro. Feeling is very, very there. God is so good and is so great. That area, God does not exclude you being a disabled person. Then they will deduct that kind of love out of you. You'll be no.
I really love my husband. He shows me so much love, and so do I. Those who say persons living with disabilities can't love, theirs is not real. Our love is real.
As Valentine's Day approaches, Muntala is planning something special.
I have to take her to a nice place to show her love, to express the love that I have for her, to let her see the love, the physical love of her, for her to feel that whatever she did to me for the past years, I have not even forgotten about it.
Oh, well, Emmanuel Jivenu with that really touching story. Love is beautiful, isn't it? I was hoping to end on that love note. Papa Michael Papania Shali has some news, not so good news, and joins us in studio. We're told about some fire incident in Tema. Tell us more.
Yes, Emefa. So what we understand, this is in the Tema industrial area and a warehouse. This is a long chain of warehouses that we understand has caught fire. The Ghana Fire Service has managed to scramble 5 fire tenders to contain the blaze. But recent visuals we are getting is that it may prove very difficult, but they are still on it and will possibly overcome this fire. 5 tenders and possibly may need more.
And just this weekend, over 20 fire incidents recorded.
Yes, MFA, 20 fire incidents. And so far we know that about 3 individuals in the least lost their lives to some of these infernos.
And actor Mr. Semevo is still struggling for his life as we speak.
Very, very sad over the weekend, but clearly the fire service is trying with the little they have to try and contain the situation.
And also, it is deadline day for today. Is the Impact Makers Awards. It's deadline day. We've received a number of nominations. Thank you for choosing your community heroes. Elsie Asiedu Akisiedu has more in this report as sorting begins.
The maiden edition held
on June 29, 2023, recognized and celebrated 11 awardees. Reverend Father Campbell received the Lifetime Achievement Award, while Isaac Ajauto was named Impact Maker of the Year for his significant contributions to social welfare and livelihood empowerment. Emefa Apawu, Coordinator for Strategic Partnerships and Projects at Multimedia Group Limited, is the project lead for Joy News Impact Makers.
Joy News Impact Makers Awards, beyond recognizing the people, we also aim to promote development at the very lowest level of the community. And so no matter how small we start or you have started, we are promising you that if you make yourself available, we are ready to make our platform also available to you to give you that exposure. And who knows, that will be where you would get the support that you have always been yearning for to be able to expand what you're doing.
Emefa Apawu Eli Ewenam there giving us more. She's the lead for the Joy News Impact Makers Award, ending tonight's edition of Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for your company. Nana Ansakwao is up next with That's My Opinion. Please stay.